In this video we're covering the opening round of the Nations Cup race here at Interlagos. Halfway through the race, as you can see, things are looking pretty good. Stay tuned to see if we can hold on to this and bring home a decent result. Hey guys, and welcome along to another video. If this is your first time here and you are watching all sorts of sim racing related stuff, subscribe now and click the bell icon so you get notified of every video I upload and you don't miss a thing. You join us in qualifying for the opening round of the 4th exhibition series in the Nations Cup. After putting in a decent banker lap which put us at this stage 4th on the grid, we timed it up well to get one more lap in. Unfortunately we've got a bit of traffic up ahead, but as we've got a banker in, we can push as hard as we can for this final one. And as you can see, I just push a little bit too hard, round I go, and we have to settle for 4th. Here we are lined up on the grid then in 4th place, 1/100th of a second off 3rd. So all in all, a decent qualifying session. So here we are then, the start of the race. We've got 13 laps here around Interlagos. We are in the Group 3 Toyota, the FT1. So as we come down into the first corner here, turns 1 and 2, the Senna S's, and then through the long sweeping left-hander of turn number 3. Our strategy is to stay out of trouble, as always. I want to settle down into the race, make sure that we get a bit of a build-up of time between ourselves and the 5th place and chasing pack behind us, whilst trying to hang on to the front 3. Now the front 3 have remained relatively close, so I imagine they will continue to battle. So we can just look after the tyres at this point, settle down, as I say, get into a rhythm, and then just see how the race pans out. I'm going to stay within enough distance from the guy in 3rd to make sure that we benefit from his slipstream, but we're not going to get too close, which involves us into a battle. We don't want to lose more time, because you can clearly see between myself and 5th there's a huge speed differential. We do not want to hold each other up and get embroiled in a battle with the guys behind. So as we come out of turn number 13 here, we are within the distance for the slipstream of the top 3, so that's a positive. We've got a good buffer to the guys behind in 5th and below. So as we cross the line to start lap number 2, things are looking good. We're going to fast forward here to the start of lap number 3, and as you can see, we are much closer to the front 3 now. There's some battling going on as we come into turns number 1 and 2, which is going to mean that we're all going to concertina up, which is going to push me to these guys, which is good as they almost go 3 wide up ahead. But also as we look behind, we're being caught by the rapid German in 5th. So we're going to come down to turn number 4 here. There's contact up in front there, which is going to allow the Frenchman to jump up into 2nd, and we are going to get hampered slightly by the Volkswagen up in front. We have to get out of the throttle here coming up the hill through turns number 6 and 7. There's more contact up in front. There's nowhere for us to go. We get hit up the backside, but we're going to keep the inside line here through turn number 9, so there's no chance of him going around the outside at this point. But the Volkswagen up in front is slow coming out of that corner, which is going to push us to the outside, which is going to allow the German, who's wearing the number 1, which means he's the fastest guy, up the inside of us into 4th there. But the guy in 3rd is going to go off himself, which means we're going to get our 4th place back. And after all that fun and games, we remain in 4th. There's just been a bit of a shuffle in terms of the standings, but we've survived. There's no penalties, which is obviously a massive priority for us, because you just don't want to get them in these FIA races. They're absolutely devastating. So as we cross the line to start lap number 4, we've managed to avoid all the trouble. We're still on course for a decent result here. But as I say that, we're coming through turn number 3 and the VGT VW up in front, his tyres must be shot, just gets a right slide and we're back up ahead of him again into 3rd place. So as we come down into turn number 4 here, I thought I'd touch on the reason why I am actually in the Toyota, which is slightly unusual for us. You don't often see me in this car. I don't think I've ever used it for an FIA event, but mainly it's because of the stability of the car, especially when the tyres are warm. So our strategy for this race is going to be a one-stopper on softs. So that means I'm going to spend a lot of time, you can see the wear on the tyres already, with worn tyres. So our first pit stop is going to be on lap number 7. I want to get the longest stint out of the way first, which is going to give us fresher tyres towards the end of the race. It doesn't really matter with a one stop or whether you come in when you've got a 13 lap race on the 6th or 7th lap. I just like to get the hard bit out of the way first and have an easier remainder of the race. So as we remain in 3rd here, you're going to see that the guy behind here, his tyres are shot. He's going to come into the pits. Fuel isn't an issue here, and he is clearly on a 2-stopper. Due to the length of the pit lane, I decided that I wasn't going to do a 2-stopper. It's really long here at Interlagos, so that was off the cards for me. And as you can see, the Frenchman up in front here is really struggling with his tyres. He struggled to get that thing stopped down into turn number 1. He's also going to struggle here at turn number 4, so I anticipate that he will probably be coming in at the end of the lap here, so he must have rinsed his tyres already, which is good for us. That plays into our hands, but the more I battle with him, the more time we're going to lose. So I'm going to give him the grace till the end of the lap, and I'm going to put myself in a position so that if he does come in, there's no issue, and if he doesn't come in, that we are in his slipstream and can make a move down into turn number 1. So we're going to stay on board here as we come through turn number 11, Bico de Pato. Coming down the hill, we get a bit of a wiggle on here as we come through turn number 12 and into what I call the final corner, turn number 13. Now we're a little bit further behind than I would have liked. We're still in the slipstream here, and I think we'd still be in a position by the end of the straight to make a move due to how stable this thing is on its tyres. So it looks like he's taking a tighter line, so we're going to stay in the slipstream here. He's going to come in and we're going to make sure we are well clear of the pit lane line, as you will find yourself getting a shortcut penalty there. And as we start lap number 6, we are in 2nd place, so things continue to look very good for us at this point. If you have a look up in the top left there, you can see the rest of the pack are beginning to come in. Even some of them are on mediums, which again is brilliant for us. As we come into turn number 4 here, I'm just going to carry a bit too much speed, go a little bit wide, almost lose it on the way out, but we are going to get ourselves a penalty for that. Just a 0.4 of a second penalty, but with these new, as I go wide again, really struggling with these tyres now. They seem to have completely fallen off, but we've got to survive this lap and the next one for the bigger picture part of our strategy here. But as I was saying, it only looks like a 0.4 of a second penalty, but the way that the new FIA penalties are, that's going to lose us way more time than that. The gate where you serve your penalties is down the straight between turns 3 and 4, so we'll have to see what happens when we get there. You can really see now how much we're struggling with these tyres here. To be honest, they're pretty much dead, but this car is doing a good job and still remains pretty stable with these worn tyres. So you can see here the TX3 driver who was in first comes in. He was on medium tyres as well, so he's going to have a longer stint for his second part of his strategy. So again, all looking good for us. The only negative, as we are now running in the lead here, is this penalty. So as we come through the gates here, the computer is going to automatically slam on the brakes. We have to flick it back down to 5th, and our penalty has been served. We are being hunted down here by the German, who is actually on a 2-stopper, remember, so we're not in a race with him at this point, but we've just got to struggle around the rest of the lap, get ourselves in the pits and get those new boots on. So we're going to jump forward only a few corners, and you can see the difference in speed with these tyres. Our worn tyres here are going to allow the German to come through. I'm not going to fight it because remember we're coming in at this point, so there is no point losing us any time by trying to defend, because we're not battling with him right now, but we will be hopefully come the end of the race. So we're going to put some new boots on here. Some, as I say, well needed new boots. There's no need to fuel at this point because the fuel depletion just doesn't warrant it for this championship at this point. We're going to come through this long exit here, still on the pit limiter, people overtaking us as we go, and we are going to come out in 6th place. So we're only 10.5 seconds, just about 11 seconds behind the leader. We've got fresh boots on. We know they need to stop again. So things are looking ever better for a podium finish. Our hardest part of the race is done. We've done the longest stint, as we mentioned earlier. We got that out of the way first, so now we can just concentrate on catching up with these guys. So we're going to come through here, turn number 9. Everything's looking good at this point. We're going to come up to turn number 11, and it's at this point things are gonna go wrong. I managed to get a spin on coming out of turn number 11. As the track drops away there, I'm going to lose 1, 2, 3 places, get squeezed onto the grass there, almost lose the car entirely. But more importantly than the places, we have lost 10 seconds. We're now 19 seconds behind the leader. Thankfully we don't have to overtake this Porsche here as he's coming in, but that is not what I needed at this point. I'm going to go defensive here because I can't afford to lose any places to the 911 there, so he can try and go around the outside if he wants to, but we do not want to get stuck behind a car on older tyres when we need to push on now and chase the race. Keep your eyes here on the German who's going to come out in 7th. We're going to try and go down the outside here into turn number 4. We're going to come through here too wide. Thankfully he gives me room, he keeps it tight, good driving from him, but his fresher tyres and more grunt with that Mazda is just going to allow him to keep that 7th place. Oh, so critical. I can't believe I made that mistake. Things were looking so good, but it is what it is. We all make mistakes. You see every single part of me on this channel. I don't sugarcoat it, as you know. I don't hide or edit out my mistakes, and it's a mistake we've made numerous times before, and it's unfortunately just the way the cookie crumbles. We're going to make light of a bad situation here. We're still in the top 10. I'm still confident in our strategy, and people are still coming in, as you can see in the top left, so we can still get a decent finish here. So we're going to come up the hill to start lap number 10. People are still coming in here, so things are still looking good for us at this point. We are now up to 5th position as we start lap number 10, and I almost hit the German there up the backside. I'm getting a bit overzealous trying to make up these places. I actually lose more time than it's worth, as you can see, but we're going to push on and see what we can get out of this race. Fast forwarding towards the end of the lap here, coming out of turn number 11, keep your eyes on the Spaniard and the German up in front here. The German's going to try and go up the inside of the Spaniard here. There's going to be contact between them both. They both lose time here. I'm going to have to go round the outside of the Spaniard. He's going to try and push us a little bit wide here, but we're going to stick it round the outside. Hopefully he's going to come in. Let's keep an eye on him. Yes, he comes in at this point. We've now got the slipstream of the German up in front, and as we cross the line to start lap number 11, we are in 5th. Keep your eyes to the left here as we get real close to the German. You'll be seeing the guy just coming out of the pits there. When it all shakes itself out, you'll be able to see exactly who that was. So we're going to come out of the pits here, and it was TRZ West, the Spaniard there. He's now going to be on a fresh set of soft tyres. He's 2.5 seconds behind us, so I imagine he is going to come into play as we try and hold on to this 5th place. We're going to be coming under some serious pressure here. Our tyres are halfway worn, so the aim here, I don't think 4th is on the cards. I'm going to try and hold on to 5th, but if not, we will certainly, after that spin, take 6th. So less than a lap ahead here. We're on lap number 12 now, coming into turn number 4. You'll see that the Spaniard has taken over a 1.5 seconds out of us, and he is now there in the bottom right on our radar. So I know there's a big gap you can see on the mini map between us two and the chasing pack behind. They won't be able to catch us in the next lap and a half or so. So I'm not going to fight too hard this 5th place. So considering we span and stuff, and considering the strategy we're on, we're just going to settle for this 6th place. You can see there, now that we've been overtaken, there's a big gap of over 7 seconds to the guys behind. 6th place is still a decent result, especially considering that damn spin of ours, but that's the way it goes. So let's bring home this 6th place. On the final lap now, coming into turn number 13, the final corner here, and it looks like we're going to bring home this 6th place. We're about 18 seconds behind the leader. Very frustrating as we lost over 10 seconds because of that spin earlier on in the race. So unfortunately we could have had a podium. I think we would have definitely been in contention for one, but it wasn't to be, and we're going to come home to take 6th place. We also get 1182 championship points, so despite the spin, not a bad day out. But for now guys, that is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.